everyone, it's Smitha. I am GLAMSMITTY on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And today's a really fun video because I'm doing a collab with one of my friends that I've known for quite a while now on Instagram, Hersa, which you probably know her as the Hersa Way. We've known each other, like I said, for quite a while. We share a love of indie makeup, of super sparkly eyeshadows, super shifty eyeshadows, and she is just such a gem in the community. She does have an Instagram page. She's also on YouTube, so I highly recommend that you follow her on both. She does some really beautiful work, and it's just such a ray of light. I absolutely adore the looks that she does. She really puts time and thought into everything. She also does build your own palettes, all kinds of stuff. So make sure that you check her out. Thank you so much for collabing with me and helping to come up with this idea. Let's go ahead and hop into it so that this video isn't too long. I do have shadows that I picked out. This is a really hard thing to do, to pick out favorites or pick out kind of any time that I'm forced to narrow down a selection of shadows, because I'm bound to forget something, but that's okay. I feel very confident about the shadows that I picked for this video, and I hope that I, got the vibes, the sultry vibes. I think it's perfect with Valentine's coming up. And I want to go ahead and start off with, and I did try to pick a bunch of different brands, so hopefully that will be helpful to you if you haven't tried some of these brands. So I'm going to start off with this shadow that's pretty new in my collection. This is from C Beauty Mall. This is a Chinese indie brand, and they actually sell a lot of other Chinese makeup products. They have been really, make Chinese makeup really accessible both to Chinese creators and creators all over the world. So I've really enjoyed getting the chance to work with them and get some PR from them. And this was sent in PR. This is the shade Ruby Flame. It is such a vibrant red shadow. It doesn't have, a very prominent shift. It does have a little bit of a shift, but I would say, being able to have a super red shimmer like this it's hard to come by. I've gotten some questions. I can't find Leon, which is an Odin's Eye single shadow, which I would say is pretty similar to this, but the Odin's Eye shadows just creased really, really bad on me. I think because of the oils, and it could be the batch that I got, I'm not sure, but I mean I loved wearing it. I did wear it for date night last Valentine's Day, but I just found that it was hard to get it to wear well for very long. And I haven't done a proper wear test with this, but this shadow, for the hours that I was wearing it, didn't crease like that. So absolutely love that. There's what it looks like swatched on the back of my hand. I'm gonna do my swatches 3 at a time. So they've only launched about 5 shadows, and I feel like this red has become notorious, and for good reason. So that is Ruby Flame. Next we have another Chinese makeup brand. I have been so impressed with this brand. They're new. They're called Breathreat, B-R-E-A-T-H-R-E-A-T. And again, I picked out a reddish shadow. They have a lot of different formulas, and they only have, I believe, like 10 or 12 shadows that they've launched. But wow, the shimmers are so impactful. This is, again, kind of like a fiery shifting shadow, and this is the shade Perturbed. Let me just show what it looks like swatched in the back of my hand. Now this one is shifty. It doesn't have, as much of that true red base that Ruby Flame does, but it smooths out so beautifully. I did swatches of my shadows from them and a look, and I feel like it's going to end up in my yearly favorites for 2025. So I already feel like, these shadows, this brand is one to watch. And not to mention the packaging is so cool. These are magnetic and they have a bigger palette that all of them fit into as well, in case you are someone who likes to mix and match your shadows. So that is the shade Perturbed. Next is a shade from Diverune, and this is their new collection. And this is the shade Alley Cat, and I will have all of the shades in the description box below as well. And Diverune is another brand that has all of their pans are magnetic. This is one of their single shadows that came out with their Valentine's launch, and it is such a deep purple. Like, look at that. It does have a subtle green shift that you can catch, but I love, and I actually have it on my lids right now. It's not the prime shade that I have on my lid, but I put quite a bit of it on sort of the outer corner. But absolutely beautiful. It does remind me a little bit of a shade from Terra Moons a few years ago, Celestial Cloudscape, but that shade is, you know, it's a few years old. I would say that this shade probably packs more punch. It does stain a little bit, so just fair warning if that's something that bothers you, but that is an absolutely beautiful shade. And so that is the shade Alley Cat. All right, next I'm going to dive into my Bella Beaute Bar single shadows, and I have 4 from Bella Beaute Bar just because I really do feel like as a brand they sort of nail the vibes when it comes to sultry shadows. And 3 of these are single shadows. One of them is actually from a palette, but they have sold some of their most popular single shadows as shadows from palettes as singles, and they're all magnetic and removable too, in case that's something that is appealing to you. So this one is Black Magic Holo. What I really like about the Bella Beaute Bar Holos is that they don't have a very prominent gray base, which you can get with a lot of holos. You just get a whole lot of dimension and sparkle with them. And they have some really kind of deeper holos that have just a beautiful sparkle and intensity to them. And there's a few that are like this. I don't think you need all of them by any means, but like they have, I think, one called Witch Bitch Holo, which is pretty similar to this, but look at this swatch on the back of my hand. It's so pretty, and it's one that I reach for quite a bit when I'm doing my looks and my custom palettes. So that is Black Magic Holo. The next is the shade Cauldron, and it's a really, really unique deep green shimmer, and I don't have a lot that are like that, so it is another one that I find myself reaching for a lot. And they have this one in a holo form as well, I believe. I think I have it somewhere, but both beautiful. This one, it's really the tones for me that keep me going to it. It may not be like the most sparkly in the world. It is still sparkly, but it is just such a beautiful deep green shimmer, and I don't have really anything that's like that. So that's the shade Cauldron. The next one was really popular when it came out last year. It is called Love Bite, and it is sort of their version of an intense red multi-chrome. I still don't think it's as kind of true red as the Ruby Flame one that I showed you. This one has a lot more kind of that fiery shift in it, but it is super beautiful. So let's see if, yeah, you can see here, it's got this like, you know, orange yellow shift in it, but it's absolutely beautiful. And not as sparkly as Ruby Flame also, but intense and beautiful. All right, next one is a shade that I've been gravitating a lot to. It's from the Vamp palette, and it is the shade Shadows, and it's just so unique. It's like, it's this kind of black and red shimmer shadow. And I just don't really have anything like it. I am using it a lot in custom palettes, in looks. I love it. So that is the shade Shadows. And like I said, this one was from the Vamp palette. I am not 100% sure if it has been available as a single, but here's what it looks like swatched. And in case you're curious, we are gonna do a collab post where we show static swatches of these shadows, because I know that can be helpful as well. But that's that set of 4. All right, now I'm gonna go into my last 5. I'm gonna start off with a couple that I have from Clionadh. This is the shade Kiln Light. And Kiln Light is a jeweled light multichrome. It is inspired by their original jeweled shadow called Kiln. It has kind of like a reddish, pinkish base with a pretty prominent kind of green-yellow shift. Here's what it looks like on the back of my hand. Another one that I absolutely love. And I loved it in the original jeweled form as well. But I do prefer the Jeweled Lights formula overall, and the way that they perform and blend on the lid. The next shade is Redox, and Redox is actually this category of shades from Clionadh, I would say, is among one of my favorites. It's the dimensionals. And I just find that the dimensional shades are so unique, and they're hard to dupe, or they're, really not a lot of really dupes with other brands. And I just find them to be deep, interesting, really sparkly, really just kind of unique shades. So that is the shade Redox. It's kind of like got this almost like a purple gray base, and it has a little bit of a greenish shift in it. Next is I have 2 from Touch of Glam, and the first one is in one of these square pans. It's called A Deeper Connection, and Touch of Glam has so many special shadows that it's almost hard to pick favorites from them, but definitely in this sultry category of shades. This is A Deeper Connection. Here's what it looks like swatched. Again, like kind of ruddy red base, and kind of a fiery orange yellow shift in it. So that is the shade Deeper Connection. Next one is, I would say, possibly one of my top 5 favorite shades from Touch of Glam, and this is Eyellucination. I just love this whole line. I'm blanking on what it's called, honestly, but it's so interesting. They're so sparkly, dimensional. They apply beautifully. Here's what it looks like on my fingertip, and one that I reach for a lot. I did an oil slick eye with it sometime last year, but I use it a lot in my palettes, and it's just one that I think is so unique to Touch of Glam. So there is the shade Eyellucination. And then last but not least is a shade from Shine by SD. This came out a couple of years ago, I want to say. It's in the Divinity collection, and it is a kind of like, again, a ruddy red type of shade. I definitely went for a certain type with my sultry shadows, but it is beautiful. It's not, again, it's not like uber sparkly, but the tones in the shadow are so beautiful. So this is A Darkened Flame. Here's what that one looks like. Almost like a kind of blackened red. Pretty nuanced and interesting. Anyway, I'm really excited to see what shades Hersa picked, and like I said, we will show swatches in a post sometime, I think this week or the next. I have to double check with her, but thank you for joining, and let me know if you've tried any of these brands, any of these shades, and if you liked the ones that I picked, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.